If we taste something and it tastes amazing, it's very likely that that's exactly what our body needs. If we are drawn to sweet things, it may be that our body needs more yin energy, that we've been going, and we need a little more downtime. If we're drawn to bitter things, it might be that our liver needs more support. We might find ourselves irritable or crunchy. So we're always in that situation of being drawn to things that our bodies need, and we can trust that.
So this is one of my favorite recipes of working with bitter gourd. So you can eat the seeds of the bitter melon, it won't harm you, but the texture is a little bit hard. So I would recommend taking them out. You can kind of cut in triangles and just kind of move them out and then put the bitter melon off to the side. I like to cut them into smaller pieces. If they're a little bit smaller and bite-sized in this way, then you don't get overwhelmed with the taste of the bitter. So now that we've cut all of this up, then we'll move to cutting the mushrooms. So you can use any type of mushrooms, and so we have these really beautiful mushrooms here, and I'm just going to cut them up into some smallish pieces, and they can be cut really in different ways. In fact, this one we can just pull apart, which is kind of nice. You have this kind of tactile of pulling all the stems apart, and you can cut a little bit of the bottom. And in the stems of the mushrooms, there is also kind of a slight bitterness that can be utilized depending on how you want the degree of bitterness that you really want to work with. Wow, look at this. All kinds of different mushrooms. So I'm gonna cut the base off again. And this one, we'll cut them into little smaller pieces. And mushrooms themselves also give this kind of a meaty taste, which helps with the blending of the bitterness. So we'll just cut these up a little bit here. Okay, so we'll do a little bit of garlic. And once the garlic is peeled, then you can just cut it up into small bite size, and we'll put it in kind of in the midway as we're cooking. You can cut the garlic to the size that feels right for you. We're gonna make them a little chunkier today. Get a much more of a forward taste of the garlic, which is kind of nice. So the first thing we'll do is to heat the pan up, and then we'll heat some avocado oil. Avocado oil is useful in that it has a high burn temperature. You don't have to be afraid of degrading the oil. Once it starts to heat, you can feel the heat, it starts to get a little warm. Then what we'll do is we'll put the onions in and just saute the onions. And we'll put a little bit of black pepper in with the onions. Just because it's delicious. So I'll go ahead and cover the onions and let them brown a little bit. Now that the onions are nicely browned, we'll throw the garlic in and then directly put the mushrooms in. Right in. And we'll add a little bit more oil. I find that mushrooms tend to like oil, so kind of soak it up. And so after we have the mushroom sauteed a bit, we'll add some of the black bean sauce. The black bean is fermented soybeans, and we'll take a little bit, just kind of give it a bit of a dollop. And we'll also add some after we put in the bitter gourd. So now we'll go ahead and put the bitter gourd in. And we'll gently turn it over a bit. And then what we're going to do is to put a little bit of water in to kind of steam the bitter gourd to break down the cellulose wall so that it'll be easier to digest.
Taste is itself fascinating. And fascinating also is the fact that many peoples around the world found ways to blend some of these flavors, not only for their food taste, but also for their therapeutic benefit, mixing and blending them to create a palette, if you will, of medicine to affect multiple parts of our organ systems. And in a culture like the United States, or a country like the United States where the primary flavoring of the food itself is salt and pepper, I think it's why bringing in more ethnic culinary dishes and learning to cook more with culinary herbs and spices is important, not just because it's good for flavor and then we can cut back on salt and sweet and other things, but because those culinary herbs and spices are powerhouses when it comes to their therapeutic and medicinal benefits.
Okay, now that it's steamed a little bit, turn it again. You can see that it needs a little bit more water, so I'm going to add a little bit more in here. And what I looked at was, just as I was turning the bitter gourd, I could just feel that it was still a little bit hard. But the idea is, if you have the water and the lid is covered, they're actually steaming. So now we'll add a little bit of salt. Add a little bit of the brown sugar. Now a little bit more of the black bean sauce. Okay. When you find the desired firmness of how you would like the bitter gourd to be, then it's pretty much finished. You can put it on the plate. Oh, this looks delicious. These mushrooms are really nice. And so you have bitter gourd.